Welcome everyone to the Voice of Terminus show. We are finally back from a little break that we had. We're here with the skeleton crew. Myself today, Lex and Josh are still on holiday. They will be back as of next Friday. And today I have Shy, our wonderful mod, helping me out today with the show. Say hello, Shy.
Hello.
And our guest today for the player Q&A is Orsenfelt from Pantheon101. Say hello.
Hello.
And today's show is obviously about sitting down with this gentleman and chit-chatting about Pantheon. And obviously we all want to know about Pantheon 101, which we'll get into a little bit later. Orsenfelt, do you want to go and tell us a little bit about yourself, your gaming background and whatnot?
Sure. Old EQ player, really. Tried multiple MMOs and didn't really get on with them. And then got to the point where Pantheon came out and thought, that's the opportunity. And here we are.
Nice. So, Shai, do you want to start off some of these questions?
Sure. Let me go ahead and get started there. Let's see. So, Orson, how long do you typically spend creating your character when you start a new MMO?
I'd say 20 minutes, roughly. I normally go in knowing pretty much what I like, what I don't like, and spend most of that time on hair, scars, tattoos.
Oh, I knew I liked you. I knew I liked you.
Yeah, you gotta do that. You gotta make it look right, don't you?
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So, from what you've seen so far and heard from Pantheon, the game itself, which starting area are you most excited to see and why?
Ooh. Probably Archive, just because it sounds potentially beautiful. But
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Crystals and
I know. I'm excited to see how they're going to do that as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely a very interesting race.
There's a lot of potential there. Yeah.
Well, from what I've seen of the archives so far, I'm very interested to see what their home looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, if they look that awesome, what does their house
Yeah.
look like?
Definitely.
Yeah. Most of them, though, I'd like to see all of the starting cities.
Yeah. Man after my own heart. Okay, so what is your typical setup then that you use at your house? Like your system use, number of screens, all that fun stuff.
It's fairly, I'd say, standard gaming PC. 2 monitors, nothing fancy. Quad core, 1060. I don't go all out. It's enough for what I do.
Cool. So no LEDs flashing all over the place and.
No, it's not for me, that kind of thing. No.
Yeah, I can't. I would love to have a setup like that, but I can't really. I couldn't do it in the end. It'd be too much.
Yeah, too much work to keep it clean as well.
Definitely.
Mine's a mess.
Yeah, I gave mine a brief clean for the show today, but you can't see it anyway. But still, you gotta keep it clean. I am in the middle of moving, so yeah. I've got a skeleton desktop more or less. So, do you prefer to play in game with real life friends or online friends?
I'd say online. Probably mostly because real life friends don't play MMOs. There's one or two, but if you meet a friend online in an MMO, there's a good chance they'll like playing the MMO, so it's easier, I guess.
Yeah, and basically, for me, I found it the online friends something that lasts longer. Over decades, you can even say. I mean, I got friends back from from 2006 or 2004, sorry, when EverQuest 2 came out. I'm still friends with them today, and I wouldn't have that with real life friends so much.
Yeah, because there's varying interests and varying amounts you want to spend on a certain game or in a certain game, you know. So it's, if you meet them online, they're probably as dedicated to that MMO as you are, and they'll play the same and have the same ambitions, you know.
Definitely
helps.
And I know in my situations, the people that I play with in game usually end up becoming very close personal friends in real life as well.
Yeah. That's what it's all about.
Some of the longest friendship relationships I've had have been through MMOs.
Well, it's like with us, you know, the VoT. You know, I can call all the people that I have that I've met there, not just the VoT members in our Discord, but everybody there basically that I've, you know, chatted with. I see them as, you know, close friends, and you know, it's something you definitely cherish for the years to come.
Yeah, it's shared interests and time build friendships.
Yeah.
Okay, now for the important question. What class and race are you typically drawn to when you decide what character you're going to play? And remember, people are watching you.
Yeah, I did get these questions earlier and thought some of these questions are just designed to have people hate me. I'd say utility support classes mostly. I never request I played an enchanter for a long time.
Oh, I love enchanters. I don't play them, but I love enchanters. They're so awesome.
Obviously, you've got to respect what healers and tanks and things like that do, but
Definitely.
I don't think not sure. I'm not into pure classes. I like having options and like having, you know, things I can do, alternatives. So yeah, normally utility support, something like that.
Actually, you know, that's actually a pretty broad perspective for Pantheon. If we look at the class reveals, there's a lot of utility and support amongst all archetypes. So
yeah, true. it's not an easy choice at all.
Definitely.
It's obviously enchanter comes up first, but my options are still open. And race, anything that's not an animal. For some reason, I just can't stick a character that's an animal.
Yeah.
You know.
So no frogs. Oh, I'm hurt.
It's nothing against them. It's just
I
find myself not really getting into it, you know.
No, that's understandable.
And nothing too short. I like being able to see over bars and things. That's good.
Yeah. Well, I always liked playing like the high elves.
Yeah.
In there and the frogs, but I would always get the in EQ and EQ2. I'd always get somebody to shrink me, so I could still play my character, but I could still be little.
So, what was your first WoW moment in Pantheon when you started to follow the game?
That's hard to remember. It's been years now.
Yes.
I'd say it probably wasn't the Kickstarter, because it was just concept art and you know, things like that. Do you know, it's probably the Cold Carnage stream when he went into Amber Fate, and you saw the vertical, you know, the height and the distance and the amount of people and just the visuals and things.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, or at least that's when it clicked that you know, they're trying to do something different and special, and it's worth paying attention to then. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, even with the latest streams with Black Rose Keep, you know, they seem to have a knock for it to up themselves one more.
Yeah,
and they're doing it, you know, in a progression that is fantastic. You know, the way they've marketed their product and the reveals and the releases of what they're doing has been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, you can definitely get they get the feel of playing a game like that, and that you want something, you want an environment that feels interesting, that you want to explore, you know. So I hope for more of it.
Also, the really cool thing is seeing how it changes from stream to stream to stream as they show. I mean, you can see how much work they're putting into it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You can see the passion basically behind them. That they're not just doing it for them, because they can. They're doing it because they have a passion for it. They're gamers themselves first and foremost. They want to bring a game for gamers, for us the players and everything, not just for a big corporation who's in it for the money. These guys are in it because they have a passion for it. They want to bring back the old school feel of challenge and excitement and playing together, not just running around by yourself. And you can really see that. And it's really people that are getting into it now. They're right in the middle of a making, basically.
Yeah.
Now's the time where they're making a name for themselves, and it's starting to really progress and get major exposure.
Yeah.
Right, and people are seeing that they're not just a flash in the pan. It's they're actually serious about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, for me, it doesn't really matter what the game is. It's the most important thing is that it has a world, like it has a sensible, sort of logical understanding, a consistent set of rules. And MMOs are the best medium for that because you're literally building a world.
Yeah.
And some MMOs I've played just don't capture it, And
Exactly.
it's exciting when you see one that they get it. They really understand it.
Definitely.
Right. Or you get into that game and it's like, oh wow, for the first 5 minutes, and it's like, oh god.
Yeah. Exactly. There's a huge list of games that are like that.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many games out there that it's just eye candy, and it's like you jump in there and go, oh wow, this is beautiful, but there's nothing to do.
Or there's people, but you're not really allowed anywhere near them.
Yes, exactly.
It's just bizarre.
Yeah.
So what would you like Pantheon to do to get itself more exposure in the market? Just going along that way.
Realistically, more Twitch streams, more YouTubers. That's obviously where people are nowadays. It's not. There's a certain amount of people that go to conventions and things like that, but what percentage of gamers are watching Twitch every single day?
Right.
And it's the best way to show it off.
Definitely.
Really. I'd say less realistically, I would wait until the World of Warcraft Classic people are burned out and annoyed by it, and then advertise to them. Because it won't be what they think it will be. So might as well go after them.
I remember back in the day, that you'd get the advertisements in like PC Gamer magazine, and I even remember seeing a few little TV shorts that they actually did.
Yeah.
And they don't do those these days.
Yeah.
People are all in Twitch and things like that. Yeah. So
when I was younger, it was.
I have to agree with you.
To me, it was the box art. It was, going into the shop and seeing. EverQuest ruins a Kunark, and the sort of it was completely different to everything else. And I thought I have to get in that.
So on that note, with that what you just said now, would you like to see, because now nowadays everything is digital. You download your game online. Would you like to see a boxed version of Pantheon in the stores, and would you buy it?
Yes,
do they
I'd buy
actually
it.
sell things in the stores?
Yes, they still do that.
It would be an excuse.
I have not seen a box game for years. So.
It'd be an excuse for me to go to a game shop, I guess. But yeah, I would buy it. If they could do it without spending a lot of money, because obviously things are online because it's cheaper. But yeah, I'd like some. I don't know, some rare, small issue versions or something physical anyway that isn't just. Yeah, because I'm not a collector of.
Pantheon Collector's Edition with the little miniature figures of the team, Brad, Jopper, Justin, and so on and so on and so on. that you could put up. I would love to. I would buy that straight away. Yeah, something like this, little figurines like this, you know.
Yeah, because I have, I've got box versions of every other MMO I played, so it'd be a nice addition.
I still have my old EQ box from way back in the day.
So.
And the thing is, as well, with the digital age, you sometimes forget that you've got this game because it's somewhere in your Steam account. It's it's in your massive list, or it's on some other streaming platform that you have, Origin or Ubisoft, you name it. But you haven't got that installed at the moment, so you forget about these games. But when you turn around or you go into the cellar, you look at your box and everything, you realise that I've still got this MMO. I want to go and play that again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it does have value as well, having those boxes.
And it's an instant nostalgia. It's that's what it's like.
Yeah.
I still have my cloth map from EQ back in the day, and from EQ2 and my little coins and stuff. And it's so nice sometimes to go and have something physical to pick up and look at and say, you know what, I remember when.
Yeah.
Just to have that physical.
I remember when I was playing EQ, they came out with it was like a gold tin of, I think, the first 6 or 7 expansions.
Mm-hmm.
And I already had an account and I already had, all the expansions. But I thought I could have a second account. I bought that.
Yeah.
And it's different, so I bought it. But I remember being thoroughly disappointed that it was just clear CD cases, sort of stacked up inside it. No manual, no map.
Yeah.
So I've got the tin, but that was a bit disappointing. But I still bought it.
So, do you craft when you start an MMO? And if so, what do you like to do?
I'd like to say yes, I'm one of these people who craft, but I would be lying. Because I played an enchanter, I spent a lot of time not having any money in EverQuest and just buying diamonds and then losing them. And so I've now got to the point where I'll collect things, but I'll leave crafting until I'm a bit further into the game, and then I'll decide, okay, I'll go do this now. But I do hoard everything I loot. So
it's gonna definitely be interesting to see where VR go, because they've already mentioned a few streams that crafting, adventuring is kind of like what they melt together, and it definitely benefits you to do both. And it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out, because I usually start crafting my character because it goes quicker. You level your character in crafting a lot faster than you do in adventuring, so I would always do the crafting aspect first, get myself to max level there, and then start enjoying the game on the adventuring side. But with Pantheon, I think it might be a bit different this time. I'm kind of hoping it will be, for sure.
Yeah, they might be heavily linked together, so you can't,
yes, I'm
go too far.
Very looking forward to finding out more info about it.
Definitely.
I hope they borrow some ideas from Vanguard when it comes to crafting.
Yes.
Because I really like that. I really liked having
Vanguard.
Items out in the world with my name on it. I thought that was excellent. And
I always like that idea.
But
oh, Diplo! I love Diplo. That I'm so hoping to put that in. Oh, that was such an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, with the crafting, I liked that you had some level of control over the quality of what you got at the other end. You could choose, I'll spend more time, or polishing it, or I'll spend more time making sure it's good. Yeah, I like that. I really like that.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's see. If you had the choice of starting in a new starting area or a single area where all the new characters spawn, which would you choose and why?
New area every single time. Because I think, like we were talking about with the games or worlds, and particularly MMOs, I think sort of venturing out from your racy starting city, and slowly finding where other people start and where other people experience things. It's a massive part of the game, and I think everybody getting thrown into the same, whether it's a tutorial or a sort of a shared newbie zone, I think that it takes away from the world quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
I can understand why some of these, games do it to get people together as soon as possible, because we obviously people are going to be in guilds, and there's going to be a lot of friends and this, that, and the other. People want to link up, but I would definitely miss that part of the adventure if it were so like this in Pantheon, where we all get thrown into one starting area and off we go. I definitely miss the part of learning about my race, my character, from where he's from or where she's from, and the background behind it, and actually adventuring out with other people in that area, and gradually making my way to the middle to meet up with everybody else.
Yeah, you have to have every new player's experience of it's a group of 6 people and you're all the same race and the same class, and you're just going about trying to kill absolutely anything, and then you wander out trying to get to friends and some big giant kills you. You have to have that experience.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
It kind of feels like a shortcut from the game as well when you get thrown in all together.
Yeah,
it's just like you're missing.
They're cutting out opportunities.
And not to mention, you lose the travel, the experience you get from traveling and discovering your actual home area.
Definitely.
Yeah, and especially when it's new players, they should do everything they can to say this is how big the world is, this is how far away and how dangerous it is. And if it's all, you're in a nice little forest and you're killing easy bunnies, they don't get the real experience of the game. They end up going out into the real game, and they don't necessarily have the same. They're not equipped for it, because they've just it's been happy land for a while. So I want it to be brutal.
It's an experience basically.
Yeah.
Your learning curve to understand your class and everything. So right, so if you from what you've seen, what you've heard, what you've read about on Pantheon, if you could play it right now, what and where would you go and what would you do?
I'm quite childish sometimes, so
aren't we all?
Yeah, I'd probably go to the Tower of the Reckless Magician and just watch people fall off just for hours.
No, that would never happen. No.
And if they don't fall off, I might find ways to try and get them off. But
that would actually be pretty. That would actually
Where
be pretty
did that banana
cool.
peel come from?
Yeah,
having some fun.
Peel.
Some fun spells where you can shove people off a ledge or something if they're standing on it.
Oh no! Because you guys would use that on me constantly. I don't want that. No.
I remember there was a really popular video from. Do you remember the game Age of Conan? That had an excellent first 20 levels.
I know the one you're talking about. Is it the bridge?
Yeah. You could get your horse to kick people off the bridge. I could do that all day.
My husband did. My husband played that game, and I think he must have spent about 4 or 5 hours standing on that bridge kicking people off.
Never gets old. So that's what I do.
Yeah.
I think I would deliberately avoid the high end things. I don't like spoilers,
Yeah.
Definitely.
You definitely want to discover stuff for yourself and figure it out. I think we can drop the next question. We kind of already landed on that one. You take the next one, which is mine. What mechanics?
Okay. What mechanics are you mostly looking forward to with Pantheon?
Probably the climate and the weather system. Because, like I said, I think MMOs are best when they're brutal and they're dangerous and they're a built world that feels real.
And you actually have to think of what to do.
And I quite like the idea that it's not just giants or mammoths or dragons or something that blocks your way from place to place. But rain and weather and awful conditions that low players have to figure out how to survive. It's an added dimension, and it's a really good idea.
They've definitely raised the bar with the weather and climate system and environment, and I hope they can deliver on it as well. I definitely want to see thunderstorms and sandstorms and snow, rain. I want quicksand in jungle areas and stuff like that. So it would be really cool to see stuff like that for us to engage in and have to compete against as well.
Yeah,
and not just have the weather be the weather, but have it actually impact your character.
Exactly, and it's something you can build on. You can have seasons, and you can have certain places in the world that
I hope we have seasons.
Get to, because it's at certain times of the year it's.
That would be cool, yeah.
There's places that pass you can't get through or whatever. So it's endless opportunities for stuff like that.
Or have dry leaves crunching in the forest when normally there's no noise at all.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Back in the day we had to just imagine were happening, but now the technology's there. It can be done. It can be in the game. So
I know, it's so exciting.
So. I'll take this first question, Shy, and then you'll take your question because they're switched around. What is your least favourite race and least favourite class?
This is another one of these get people to hate you questions.
You can be honest.
I'm always honest. It's race right now. I'd have to say elves, only because nothing against them. Only because we don't know a huge amount about them. And so far they seem fairly standard, just sort of garden humans. So, race. Class, this is where I'm going to annoy some people. I think, for me, one of the tanks, warrior or paladin, I don't think we need 3 tanks. I don't think any game needs 3 tanks. It's too hard to balance, too hard to keep everyone relatively happy. So, and you have to have some sort of vicious death knight. He has to stay. So, for me, it would be warrior or paladin. I've never played either. I'd merge the two of them and just be done with it. Yeah.
Alright, so Shana, you can ask the good question.
The movement.
If you had to choose.
If you need to choose between the two of them, which one would you pick and why?
If I had to play one of them?
Yep.
If you have to choose one of them.
Yep.
Yeah, you're really setting these questions up.
Hey, you can blame him. I had nothing to do with it.
I guess I could grit my teeth and play a tank, I guess. Yeah, I'd do it. The armor's cool, and I could put up with being a paladin with no DPS and just helping people, I guess. Yeah. If I had to.
Yeah, I guess I can help people.
So, let's go and drift away from all these general questions and actually talk about what we want to talk about today as well. About Pantheon 101. A lot of people out there might not know, and for people that are just connecting, you have a fan site, right? Pantheon101.com, I think it is.
Yep.
Tell us what it's about and what it's for.
It's initially, when the Kickstarter came out, I just started I bought the domain and I threw up a WordPress site, and it was just keeping track of what the game was going to be, things like that. And then obviously the Kickstarter failed, and I thought, oh well, that's that. Pantheon's never happening. And then luckily it is. And I thought, okay, at this point, anybody who knows about the game, once it, at that point in time, 2 years ago, roughly, there's an opportunity to sort of to define to have the community define how it wants to represent certain things that are always attached to MMOs. Things like database websites and, character profiles and all the third-party tools and things like that. And I'm a web developer freelance. That's my day job. So I thought, rather than wait until a large corporation, who shall remain nameless, creates yet another one of their sites where they just build a tool that scrapes data and there's no community and there's no exploration, there's no submissions, there's no interest. It's just a piece of software that gathers the entire game database and shows it to you. I thought, instead of that, why not start building something that people actually want, that gives you information, that is a place where you can share items, stats, spells, quests, typical sort of Alakazam, Wowhead, those kind of things.
Yeah.
But done in a way that I know the Pantheon community respects and isn't just, yet another one. So that was 2 years ago, and now we are where we are, and it's coming along. It seems like every feature had 10 others break, but that's how web development goes. So really, I'd say, to sum it all up, it's in my mind when I was starting it. It's a combination of Alakazam, if you're familiar with that, and Magello. Yeah, I think that's the first time I've ever said that out loud.
Mage Glow? I'm not sure.
The character thing for EverQuest.
Yeah.
With the underlying principle that no data will ever be behind a paywall. Potentially features might be, but no, if the data's in the website, you can get to it without paying for it, because that really annoys me. Filters that you can't use unless you're a premium member, that annoys me. And does it in a way that is respectful to the idea of finding out things in the game, finding items, finding quests and spells and so on. And doesn't just tell you how to play your character and tell you the best things and tell you,
right.
all that sort of things. And so far it's going reasonably well, I think. We're on actually just today, a couple of hours ago, version 8 went up, which is the guilds update, where you can set up your own guild and you can have people apply to be members and your own rules. And so that's now there. Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say there.
So
yeah. The last thing I was going to say is I'd like it to be a place where if someone develops, like one of the questions I seen was, what do you think about? I'm jumping ahead a little, but what do you think about DKP software and DPS software and things? And I'd like Pantheon101 to be a place where things like that I don't have to make it, but can give them a place and can give them somewhere to be downloaded from and be used and be, a kind of a nice part of the community for the information side of the game.
So basically, Pantheon101 is going to be like a central hub where people can look up items, look up quest info, look up guilds, etc., and so forth, correct?
Yes.
Will you be working with them, or do you plan, or are you willing to work with other fan sites? Open up your API to them, maybe to share info from you and stuff like that for the future?
Yeah, there's a a very early version of a tooltip JavaScript that uses an API. So if you have your guild forum or your own fan site, or I think there's about 10 or 15 fan sites roughly now. So it works reasonably well. It can always be improved, but so if someone links to an item on Pantheon101, you don't actually have to go to Pantheon101. You can just hover the item and it'll show you the stats and so that's there. There is an API and it will be documented. It's not yet documented. It's not finalized, but it's getting there. And there's a page for a Discord bot that I'd like again so it can join people on their guild's Discord, and you can use that to search for items and quests and things. I'm not a good enough Go or Python programmer to get it properly working yet, but eventually it'll be there.
We can always rent you Lexa if you need help. Lex, if that's actually a good marketing thing. Rent a Lex. I'll have to put a patent on that. And Lex, if you're listening, I don't mean you any harm by that.
If it works for cups of tea and pieces of shortbread, then that'll be excellent.
I can't program, but I'd work for that. I love shortbread.
Is it going to be accessible for anybody? Do you have to log into your site, register, or anything like that to access any of the features?
Some of them, just because of the way they work, obviously, you have to have an account. Like, if you want to create a guild, or if you want to create a character profile, you obviously have to have an account. But searching for items, things like that, no. It's just there.
Any tidbits you can reveal for the future plans?
No.
Still in the works. Still working out.
It's sometimes I make it look like it's all planned ahead,
Yeah.
but a lot of the time I just think, oh, that'd be a cool thing to do, and then work on that for 2 hours.
It's actually quite surprising to see so early on. I mean, you were one of the first sites out there in that fashion when it comes to like a wiki or quest hub or item database. One of the first ones out there. And it's actually pretty amazing to see how many sites there are so far in that area already, even though the game's just recently hit its pre-alpha stage. The game's been talked about since late 2013, official Kickstarter in 2014 that failed, and still there's so much out there. A lot of people doing stuff, even though the game's still at least 2 years away.
This show, I mean, how long have you been doing this show every week?
We started in 2016 March.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah. There's a lot of community people, and that's I remember I was working on it, I think for about 6 months or so, and then I thought, okay, it's relatively ready to tell people about it, and there we go. It's and it does amaze me how many sites have popped up, how many forums, how many. I saw on Reddit, because I'm also one of the moderators on the Pantheon MMO subreddit. Someone posted there that they had a website where they translate Pantheon news into Swedish.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
The game's not even out yet, and Sweden's not that big a country, and most of them speak English, but it's amazing that people are willing to put effort and time in, and just they really want it to work. And it's, I hope it all pays off. Everybody gets the game they want.
Definitely. Yep. So, how can people reach out to you if they want to know anything about Pantheon 101? People in chat, if you have a guild or you have an idea or anything like that, and you want to reach out to Pantheon 101, how could they reach you?
It's Well, Pantheon 101 on pretty much every social network there is, I think. Twitter's useful, or you could just email me at orsenfelt@gmail.com. Yeah, and it's, I keep saying it in the updates and things that I'm always happy to hear what people want from the site. It's the purpose of the site is to build things that the community want. And like the guilds update today, what I want to do is, if you're a guild leader or you're a guild officer, or even if you're just a member of a guild or thinking about it, get in touch with what kind of things you think Pantheon 101 should do for guilds. Should it have the first thing that always comes to mind is bat phones. If it gets to a situation where Pantheon 101 is a fairly large part of the community, then things like bat phones for members of guilds and raiding schedules and DKP and stuff like that would be relatively easy to put together. So, if that's what the community thinks should be on a website like Pantheon 101, then let me know. We can start building it.
Awesome. Definitely a site to check out. I've already linked it in chat. I'll link it one more time. And then if for those new to Pantheon, definitely give that a check. If you want to get some information. It's been around forever. Oops, I added a hashtag at the end of that, so and I'm not going to type it out again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they could figure it out.
But that's where you can reach Pantheon 101. And definitely, I need to reach out to you anyway, because I don't know if you set it up for us back in the day, or if I did, but I have to be honest, if I did, I've lost my login information.
Yeah, I can sort that out for you.
Yeah. Stop laughing, Shy. It's not funny.
I would never laugh at you. No.
I think you would quite
much.
You would quite like the guild updates that went in, because you can add officers to your guild and things like that who can, have a lot of power. It's good. Cool. I quite like it. I mean, I made it, but I quite like it.
So I can basically shift the responsibility over to others.
Exactly.
Shy, you got work coming.
When do I not? When do I not?
Yeah, so definitely keep us posted. And if you ever have anything major that you want to get out, you can always reach out to us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And we'll get the word spread out. Shy, shall we carry on with the next question?
I suppose we could. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay, here we go. What are your thoughts on movement within a game, and specifically Pantheon? How should movement be handled in Pantheon?
This is something that I potentially could talk about for hours, but I'll try not to. As you probably guessed, I think it should be slow. It should be difficult. It should be treacherous. And I think they should avoid, for as long as possible, horses, flying mounts, things like that. I do think that there should be, I mean, obviously I barely know anything about the game. I'm not in the alpha. I don't, I've just been building the site, but I think there should be evolution on the idea of teleports. From when I was playing EverQuest, it's sort of what I'd call the sad demise of wizards and druids could be avoided, I think, simply by changing the way teleports work and making them skill-based. It always puzzled me that in EverQuest and loads of games, as you level up, they just say, okay, here's this new spell, and you can now teleport yourself to a certain zone instantly. You just cast the spell, and then you level up a bit more, and you can teleport a group, and then, that didn't ever really make sense to me.
Yes.
So what I'd like to see is classes who can teleport instead get one spell that gets more powerful. It, like, essentially opens like a wormhole, and it's up to the person casting the spell to choose where you land. So there's a skill involved, so there's a sort of a time investment in someone being a good teleporter. And to me, that will help the developers resist the idea of instant teleports and hub zones and all the things that people think are killing off MMOs. It
doesn't just relate to the teleportation. For me, that relates to all spells, all your skills. It should be something that, because that adds a time sink to the game as well, where you're not instantly the greatest sword fighter or the greatest fireball caster or the greatest healer. You grow over time. The more you use your spell, the less it's going to fizzle or backfire or, shoot you in the back or stab you in the back or whatever, or you cut yourself. You get more skillful over time. And that adds to the challenge of the game, that adds to the time sink. It actually makes you have to study your character and learn how to play it. And, you'll think twice about just spamming this spell. Because, it's going to have, obviously, some mana costs or some endurance costs, this, that, and the other. It could fizzle, but the more you use it, the more you skill it. And I've always been baffled myself. Why... you ding, boom, you go to the spell master, you get 20 new spells or whatever the number is, and then that's it, you're done. Off you go. It's always baffled me that there's nothing more to it. You're now a god. Yeah. And you can summon comets. What? Yeah. 10 minutes ago you never knew how to do that. Exactly. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, what I'd add to that is I'd also put in things like certain races or certain classes or certain pets would get like teleportation sickness. Because if you get like resurrection sickness because it's not natural to die, obviously, and then come back, then I don't see why you can't have some kind of varying amount of sickness for when you get magically launched across the world.
That's actually a really good idea.
We actually, recently, I think this was actually the show before we went on to break, we talked about teleportation and binding and everything. And I think this was on the Summoner, where we talked about, the teleportation and everything, and like you mentioned, a wormhole. That's where, I mentioned the Summoner basically being able to create like a wormhole. But it's something that's basically a risk that you take as a player going through that wormhole, and obviously as a summoner as well. It's not something you can control 100%. And I thought it would be a pretty cool idea where the summoner would choose a destination or basically open up that wormhole for that destination. But there's a slight chance that you might get tossed across the other side of the world.
Yeah.
I would find that... I can understand how that could be frustrating, but I think it would also be kind of cool and funny as well to add that little spark of... cynicism behind it and risk.
And if it's tied to the player, the player skill and being able to, the way I imagine it is, whoever it is that's creating the wormhole and helping you through it, it should be up to them to pick out symbols or something that they get to learn over time.
Yeah.
And the better they are at reacting and clicking the right symbol, the closer you get to where you intend to go. Because it's like I say, playing EverQuest, it's as soon as Plane of Knowledge came out, Wizards just there was nothing. They had nothing to do.
POK really ruined it, I think. Yeah. It made the world so small.
Yeah. So if you could build in reputation, you could say that person's really good at getting you where you want to go. He's a really good taxi. Then it's all community. It's all.
Rambo in chat says, "Sorry, can't make the raid. Got ported the wrong way." Exactly. That's what happens when you choose a summoner to open up a wormhole because you're too cheap to spend a few coin on a decent teleporter.
Yeah.
Hey.
Put your hand in your pocket.
That was his fighting words.
Exactly.
That was his fighting words.
Plus, like
Making
in
fun of my
raids,
summoners, I don't think so.
like I really like the
Nasty
idea
old
that
git.
to move a raid force, it should take multiple
Yeah.
summoners.
Yeah.
You know, it can't just be one person who shifts everybody.
Honestly,
Yeah, basically.
I'm gonna be the person there who says that summoners should not be able to move people.
Yeah, but let's take the
Open a
wizard
door.
for instance. Take the wizard for instance.
It's more of a wizard thing with the whole
You
point.
know, if you have a raid and it's a 6-man group of 4, it should take 4 wizards to teleport that whole entire raid.
Yeah.
You would need a wizard in each group to teleport the whole entire raid, basically.
Yeah. So why not have them create a large wormhole and everyone just walks through it? And then the big dumb ogre tank gets a bit sick on the other end because he's not very clever. Stuff like that. This is what I think about when I go to bed
it's
at
you know, if we're all thinking about these kind of things, you know it's going to happen at some point. And some MMO is going to do it. We just hope that it's going to be Pantheon, and they've definitely got some really cool ideas. Where they want to take their game, what mechanics they want to put in. We interviewed the AI guy a couple of months back, and he gave some insight into some of the process behind it and what some of the plans that they have. So they've definitely got some really cool ideas, and that they seem to be on the same page. There's a lot of stuff that they want to do, what the community wants them to do, and it's definitely very exciting.
Yeah.
And
there's always, I think a lot of the time people take part in these kind of discussions and you talk with friends and things, and it's easy to give off the expectation that you want everything immediately. We want all these grand features, and it doesn't have to be like that. I'm quite happy to have expansions add not just content but change the way mechanics.
Definitely. So here's a cool question. You stumble across a hidden treasure in Pantheon. You know the area is a bit too tough for you on your own, but you've heard the treasure you get from there is epic. What do you do?
Try it anyway.
You're a risk taker, huh?
Yeah, I think it's part of playing, particularly enchanters, but for a lot of time I played a necromancer as well, and I think I've sort of trained myself into thinking nothing's impossible. It's timing. It's about knowing, your own class and knowing the encounter. So, and I'm quite stubborn. So yeah, I'd probably just keep trying it and take all the loot for myself.
I've noticed many people who play enchanters tend to be a bit stubborn.
Control freaks, yeah.
I heard that about summoners.
And your point is?
You get very used to saying, no, you're not killing that because it's my pet, or, you get used to controlling the entire fight. It's hard to give up.
Definitely.
Now, there's been some amazing enchanters out there who have done some pretty much almost impossible things that I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
So, with enchanters, it's very, very possible they could do something amazing.
Yeah. There was a guy, I didn't really ever talk to him, but I've never looked up to a person playing a game as much as when I started playing EverQuest. It was on the Talon's Ek server, the PvP server, because I had real life friends who were playing there who'd already made that terrible mistake. So I joined them as a dark elf, so terrible. But there was an enchanter, an erudite enchanter called Myth, and for whatever reason, nobody could kill him. He would come in and then beat you to death with a stick. And me playing as another enchanter would think, hang on a minute, I've just been bashed to death by a guy in a robe. This is amazing. It's that sort of solidified the idea that you can play the character any way you want. It's up to, if you want to go and get a stick and beat people to death with it, even though that's technically not what your class does. It's fine. It's, you know, you can make that a thing if you want. And that's, I've carried that in every game. You know, I kind of deliberately don't play the way the game tells me to play. I try something else because it's more fun and there's enough time to do it.
So, what do you think could be added to character creation to improve it in games? Me, personally, hairstyles.
There's a lot of games you don't want any of the hair.
Yeah.
It's the same thing for every class. Every species, it's the same thing. It's like, no!
Or what annoyed me when I was playing Skyrim is some races have good hairstyles, but they're not on the race you want to play.
Yeah.
That really annoyed me. That's it. Let's go for a silly answer. I'd like something like you add an embarrassing fact when you make your character, and then 6 months later it comes up in your class questline when you forgot all about it. Something like that, you know, little fun snippets, things like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, you say your character when they were young wet the bed, and then when you're level 50 receiving your big epic sword.
That goes as a world message.
Yeah, it just says here's...
+5 to bladder control.
Yeah. Now you're receiving this sword. Remember when you were wet in the bed? And you think, well, where's that? Because by then you'd have forgotten about it.
Yeah. That would be fun as well, yeah, definitely. What don't you want to see in Pantheon that other MMOs currently have in their game?
How long have you got?
I've got time.
I think. To pick something, I think because I'm a developer, I think what annoys me the most when I'm playing games and things is when you can see the sort of laziness the developers when they were putting in content. I don't like like say you go into a dungeon or a raid or something like that. I don't like it when one dungeon and then the following dungeon is the exact same.
Yeah.
Where the first mini boss you kill always drops arms or something, and then his boss drops something, you know, the legs of the same set, and the final boss is the one that drops the chest piece, so you end up a full set of the same armor. And then you go into the higher level dungeon and it's the same thing. The mini boss drops the arms, and you just think this is lazy. I prefer it if you kill something and it says, oh, you've got the helm of whatever, pick a name, but there is no the rest of the bits because you killed the guy that had that.
Yeah, basically, you know, if you're engaging in an encounter that wears leather, then it should drop leather, or you know, something like that. Or if it's wearing plate, it drops plate. It shouldn't have leather on it.
Yeah,
you know, it should be equivalent to the class as well. It's like if you're fighting against a caster and it drops a sword for a warrior or paladin. Excuse me, it should have caster items on.
Yeah.
You know,
why does he have that?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, I can understand that.
It particularly annoyed me in I played Star Wars. What was it called? The Old Republic. And that was terrible for that. Where every dungeon, every raid, you could tell, oh, this is the easiest boss, so you get the feat, and you kill through it like 3 or 4 times, and you'll have every piece of that armor set. It's lazy. It's just, it doesn't feel like a world. It's just a treadmill. So yeah, that's the main feature I don't want Pantheon to have. Give me random items. Give me just anything.
Smart loot.
Yeah, and I don't mind like crafting full sets of the same type armor. That makes total sense. But I don't like a set of armor spread through a dungeon. That's yeah. So that.
Oh.
So, does it matter what gender you play? And if so, what is your preference in game?
Normally, I play male. It doesn't really matter. It's just a preference. But if it had to be random or had to be the other, I don't think it would. No, it wouldn't bother me.
Cool. See, there's nothing wrong with a man embracing his female side.
Yeah.
I never said there was. All I said was I prefer being a girl.
Yeah.
Because I like to dress up and I like to look pretty. I can't do that with a burly,
Exactly. That's why I play.
Guy. I can't do it.
That's why I play a female, because I like to look pretty as well.
Frankly, if I'm on voice, it kind of breaks. If I'm on voice, it kind of breaks immersion to see Mr. Muscle Man talking like me. Just kind of breaks the immersion.
So, are you playing anything while you're waiting for Pantheon? Anything special?
Not MMOs. I'm reluctant to get, because I think everybody in the chat, everybody you spoke to, we all have the thing, where you get addicted to things.
Yeah. You get burnt out.
Yeah. So I'm trying to avoid them, and I think like all MMO gamers as well, I have a massive backlog of Steam games. So try to get through them.
That's what that's what we did get suckered in into EverQuest 2 for a longer period of time, and then we finally got to that point again where the frustration started to come up again, why we left the game in the first place, and you kind of instead we were set out to play Wednesdays only, and from the very first time logging in, it was every single day. So we all got suckered in. We bought the latest expansion. We invested a lot of money, and I just don't want to get burnt out anymore. I'm fed up with the MMOs that are out there now. There's a reason I'm not playing them. I'm looking forward to Pantheon. I'm here for Pantheon, and that's what I want to put my time, my enthusiasm in, my passion, my love. I want to put it all into Pantheon and just be wowed again. I remember the first time logging into EverQuest 2. It was the first MMO I ever played. I was just blown away. I want that feeling back again.
Yeah, it's. I mean, for me, there was a period there where I was, like the co-streams and the dev streams and stuff like that. I was watching them and pausing them and putting information into the website and like getting the stats for the items. And then I thought, do I really want to start this early? I could just put in some test items, some made up spells, and then just enjoy seeing bits of Pantheon rather than thinking, oh, that's a nice sword.
I have a follow-up question relating to Pantheon 101.
Yeah, go for it.
The items that obviously going to be put in, are you hoping to be able to hook up to an API to Pantheon, or will it be something that people, the community, can do?
People. I'm actually quite opposed to an API. For the same reasons the site exists, because if they make an API, people will obviously build chat scrapers and log scrapers. It's going to happen, but I feel like if VR build an API that reveals in-game information, they're just asking for the entire game to be scraped in one big go, and then there's no fun in that. So for me, Pantheon's about if you have an account, you can submit items. I'm going to bring back the old what was it called? The EQ fashion thing, where if you found a nice robe, you could put up a picture.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I remember that.
So
things like that.
So on that note, will you have systems in place that will prevent from double postings and stuff like that?
There's the way it works just now is you Yeah, basically. There's
Because I get
subject to change, obviously.
So I get OCD when it comes to stuff like that. When people can post stuff, and then you've got like a typo or somebody's added their name to that item, and then you've got like 20,000 different lists of this same item in your database.
Yeah.
It just drives me insane.
Yeah, the main thing is, unless it's submitted by an admin, and there's going to be moderators and things like that, it doesn't go directly into the database.
Okay.
It just gets like added to a queue, and people can go.
So basically, it's got verification kind of thing.
Yeah, it's
good.
Yeah,
very
because
good.
Initially, I did think you could just have it direct submit. That would be really easy. But after I had built the admin side of it, I thought,
no,
it's a little too complicated.
Yeah.
To just let people have, free reign to put stats in, and they would make fake items and then equip to the characters.
That's my concern.
I do that a lot. Don't I, Shy?
You told me I wasn't allowed to talk about that.
I took some screenshots and faked some of the stats and stuff like that.
I'm not. You told me if I brought that up, you would yell at me. So I'm not going to bring it up.
Good times, good fun. Oh, Shy.
Let's see. Which environments in Pantheon are you looking most forward to spending time in?
Is it cheap to say all of them?
It's the easy way out.
I'm right with you. I'm right with you. Give it to me. I want all of it.
I definitely have my personal preference. I like sewers and underground. Don't know why.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. It's I don't really have a particular preference for indoors or outdoors. I like going to zones where I'm too high level for them and just going about killing stuff and seeing what's there and opening all the doors. Because I think when you're playing through it and there's that sense of danger and there's other groups, there's always a chance that you just don't get to see a certain part, or you don't you move on before you get an interesting bit. So I like just going back and
we'll ask
Dayhawk.
We'll ask that at the end, Dayhawk. We'll definitely ask that one at the end. Yeah, definitely awesome. Coming back to the character creation. If you could copy a character creation section out of any other game and add it to Pantheon, which game would it come from and why?
Well, obviously, I think what immediately comes to mind is EVE Online, just because it's so high definition and high... I forgot the word. It's so detailed. And so, ultimately all you really make is a little avatar. Seems a bit weird. But I'd have to say Star Trek Online, because I'm a big Trekkie and I probably spent 3 or 4 hours just enjoying putting myself into the universe and into the the uniform and the picking a ship and really geeking out over things like that. Plus you could make really tall blue people, which was interesting.
Nice.
Yeah. If it has enough freedom that it's not silly, I'll be happy. It doesn't have to be amazing. Yeah.
So, what do you think of third-party apps linked to Pantheon to improve the game, such as set crafting outside of the game or DKP programs that use in-game data? Things like that.
I think DKP is fine. I think it would be pretty difficult to build a game where you could prevent someone making a DKP thing. Because they could do it all manually if they wanted to. DPS, I'm not convinced them in-game, but if people build them outside the game, again, not much you can do to stop it. And I think DPS classes who raid rely on it quite a lot. I don't like official third party. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Official like mobile apps, and you can have your character do something in game where you're not there. I think, is it really too much to ask that you just wait until you can play? But most of it I'm fine with. But I think the end game stuff should be done in game. Yeah.
So on that note, what do you think about having an app where you can't necessarily interact with your character in game, but you could chat with a guildmate or send a PM to somebody to inform them that you make it or something like that?
Yeah, chat I think is probably the only exception that I'd have. It's I think where I would draw the line is having starting processes or recipes or gathering or just leave that stuff to when you're actually in game, I think. But yeah, exactly. Chat makes sense.
Cool. So, fast forward 3 years. What do you imagine Pantheon to have evolved into?
I hope.
Jayhawk.
I hope that it's stable and that it's popular enough to pay for itself, and that it's had content added to it, and I hope it's still around. I hope it's not it's not too niche that it doesn't work, or that it's I hope that it's still there and there's still adding content to it, and there's still plenty of people and there's still plenty of things to occupy your time to do. Yeah.
Cool.
Still, I think what it comes down to is it's that you want it to still be something that you want to log into every single day.
Exactly.
Not because you feel obligated by that point. Yeah.
Yep. If they can get me to log in every day and skip work, then they've done their job right.
Yeah, stay up too late.
Yeah, exactly. I do that as it is anyways, but...
Yeah.
Oh, my. Okay, well, would you attend a Pantheon type event? And how far would you travel to get there? And what would get you there?
Yeah, I'd go to one. I've never been to anything like that before. But, yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it. How far would I travel?
Exactly.
Would
you come to Germany?
Yeah, probably. It's not that far away.
Well, I'll invite you then to the Gamescom when Pantheon attend.
If I had the time and the money, I'd go to an American one. Yeah, be an excuse to go to America. So,
definitely.
Yeah, I'd go.
Cool. So, we've come towards the end of this interview, and that means we have the most important question towards the end. Who is the VoT host with the most?
I think I gave it away when we were talking in the pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has to be Josh.
Ooh.
Mr. Silver Fox. Yeah.
He'll be happy to hear that.
Can't hate an accent like that. Yeah, it has to be Josh.
We'll have to change that question to host that
the present host.
The present host. The present host with the most, exactly.
Not the slacker host with the most, right?
So it was great having you here. Is there anything that you want to add to say to VR or to the community out there before we come towards the end?
The site will have cleric and druid information on it eventually.
But will it have cleroid information?
There you go, Dayhawk.
It might not last very long, but it might.
Do that as an April Fool's or something.
Yeah.
I'll send you the info.
An idea. Sit along with the dual wielding shields.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Dual wields.
Yeah, I'd just say, go to the site, check it out. If it's something you like, don't expect everything to work. It definitely doesn't work. Sign up, take part, tell me the things you kind of want and things you. I think actually what's more important is things that people don't want to see on information sites. Information that they don't just want. Like personally, guides. What do you call them? Like skill tree guides. I tend not to like that kind of content, but yeah.
Cool. So that was our player Q&A with Orsenfelt, Pantheon 101. Next week we will have the full crew back, and next week's show is also another player Q&A where we sit down with VoT from the community and chit chat a little bit about Pantheon. Actually, pretty much all the way through to end of August is all about the community, and we're looking forward to that. And it's good to be back. It felt like we've been away forever, but it's only been 2 weeks. But honestly, I was talking to Shy and Orson before the show, and I said to him, it felt like we've been away forever, like months on end. We really missed you guys. We're glad to be back. And today's the Skeleton
Thank you,
Crew.
Orson.
And we definitely will be in our full metal jackets as of next Friday, where Josh and Lex will be there. Just a note, I will not be around the whole of August. I'm currently moving, so August will be run through Joshua and Lexa and Shy. They will be there to entertain you guys. And next Friday, like I said, is player Q&A with VoT. Orson, it was great having you on.
Thank you so much for coming, Orson.
It was long overdue. Like I said, we want to get these fan sites and people from the community out there. And anybody in chat, if you're interested in coming on and sitting down and chatting with us about Pantheon and going through an interview with us, reach out to us through our Discord or Twitter. We would love to have anybody on. And it feels really good to be back, doesn't it, Shy?
It does. It does.
With that, everybody, we hope you have a wonderful weekend, and happy Friday the 13th. Hope it brings you all good luck on your weekend endeavours, and we will see you all next Friday.
See you then. Have a great one.